You tapped into 4-Train Radio. This is your man, Lord Sko. What up, man? Peace. Who is Lord Sko?
Lord Sko.
New York-based artist, Lord Sko.
I mean, I'm an artist from Uptown, Washington Heights. You know, I just do some ill shit. Feel me? I just try to speak on what I know and what I've seen, and just be a essence. You know what I'm saying?
You are now tuned in to 4-Train Radio. I'm your host, PELHAM, and today on our program we have a very, very special guest. How you doing,
I'd like to
Lord Sko?
think so. I'm good, my man. How are you?
I'm great, man. To give some context to the audience, about a year ago I found your music, and I heard the first song on your album, Headed Home. And I wasn't really sure what to think at first. I don't know what to expect, but at the beginning when you hear that saxophone sample, the sound of the NYC subway in the background, I knew it was gonna be special, man.
Yeah,
So
man. You had to do something classy. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, man. So my first question is, how'd we get here, man? How'd you go from presumably being in school, like listening to these rap icons that have since inspired you, to now freestyling on like Hot 97, flying out to LA to shoot music videos, and showing up on public playlists on Spotify and Apple Music?
It's definitely cool. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely like shocking, but in like a way that is very motivating, and it puts like a good amount of pressure on me, but not in a way that I feel like the world is ending, but in a way that I'm just like, I gotta live up to the standards that are now set for me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just sometimes you gotta keep up with it, and especially at my age, it's a lot of learning, but it's good learning. You know what I mean? It feels good.
I think another part of you that's really important as an artist is your identity as a New Yorker.
Absolutely.
Specifically Washington Heights. And what do you think is special about New York? Like, why New York? You know what I mean?
It's really the center of everything. You know what I'm saying? You go anywhere else, and it's like, you know, they're using the words that we was using for slang like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a sensory overload.
For sure.
I'm saying that we're just trained to deal with stuff and be equipped to live on your own and support yourself. It's like if you are familiar with the culture that goes on in New York and you just are in tune with it, you know, you're gonna realize like, oh, this kid done his history. You know what I'm saying? He's been around a little bit.
So we touched on a little bit about the past, about your identity. Now I want to shift to the fashion. I feel like you've got the sweaters, the jewelry, the pants and shit. Like, what makes up your style as an artist, and why do you think that's important to an artist?
I think it's also just developing a brand. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like the way I look is the way I sound, and the way my music sounds is, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I also something I've been thinking about a lot recently is like how music gets dated, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I want to give my shit a sense of timelessness, you know what I mean? In the sense of like, you know, if someone's seen a picture of me 20 years from now, they might not know if it's 2023, they might not know if it's the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, like, and that's gonna, you know what I mean, stretch it, because it's just, especially in the form of music that I do, it's like, it doesn't get dated, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody loves just classic New York hip hop because it's always been around. You know what I'm saying? So that's the mecca, and that's the source of what started everything. So, you know what I mean? So that shit's never gonna get dated, even if it transforms in different ways. You know what I'm saying? But so that's that. And then I just spoke about this in a different interview, but I just like kind of had a realization the other day. Like, you know, I feel like MF Doom, rest in peace, has gotten a huge second life in his career. Obviously, he passed away, but even before that, he was starting to like get, you know, he had like a second life because people were starting to like dig in the crates a little bit. But I also feel like if you look at all of his covers, they're all cartoons, so you can't like necessarily, and they look like old cartoons, but you're just gonna look at that and be like, oh, that's an old fly cartoon. You can't like look at it and be like, that's from this or that's from that. You know what I'm saying? And like, not that there's anything wrong with having a cover that looks like it's from a certain era. You know what I'm saying? But it's also just, in that sense, it's, exactly.
Shifting gears though, because you did mention your newest album, United Palace.
Yes.
The anniversary of that album, which
Today.
is amazing. And honestly, I love both of your albums, but even then, like you can sense this like jump, this like evolution from Museum to United Palace. But tell me about what changed in that process, in the album making process, or your approach, or what you wanted to get out of making this new album.
It's weird because I feel like United Palace is almost like the album I wanted to make with Museum, but I also just, with Museum, I just like, you know, I was still putting the pieces together, you know what I'm saying? Like I just really was trying to just throw all the cards out there and be like, yo, I'm gonna just rap. And like, if y'all think I'm ill, then cool. If y'all think I suck, then see you later. You know what I'm saying? But
for sure.
you know, so like that album was just very focused on me like trying to prove myself, and not that I didn't have a lot to prove
Right.
in this album as well, but I knew first of all what I could cater to in terms of a core fan base, in terms of what people already liked, and then I also knew what I had to get better at. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, so I think like I obviously already have my sound, but it's just ways that I could develop it and and morph it and, you know, just keep it steadily evolving at all times. And so yeah, I just, you know, it was a different type of pressure making this album, but I still know that, you know, at the same time, it's like I have like a smaller core fan base now, but it's still like I got millions of listeners that I still got to reach. So I still had that in mind. It's not like I'm sitting here with like 5 million listeners, like, oh, I already had my big hit. Like, I could just make whatever now, you know what I'm saying? Or I got to go make that hit again. Like, I'm just like, all right, I got to make the best quality music, period. You feel me? At whatever place that I'm in at that time, mentally.
Yeah, it's a great stepping stone, man. I really rock with it, man. And on the topic of this new album, I've noticed a lot of like collaboration, a lot of features.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dash, he's great.
Dash is dope, man.
One of the songs, Pimp Sauce.
Yeah, that's a good one.
By Arlo Walker, right?
Yes, indeed.
So tell me a little about like what goes into that collaboration. What do you look for in a collaborator? You know, in a feature or something like that.
I mean, it really depends. You know, it depends on the record that's being made. But obviously, I think with that being said, it's just someone who could fit the mold of that record. You know what I'm saying? So,
100%.
me and Arlo work kind of differently because, you know, we worked together like for a long time, and we just know how each other works. So we're on like a same type of level.
Like a
but
rapport.
right, exactly. But when I'm working with someone for the first time, I try to make sure that I could, you know, somewhat cater to their style without it losing my thing. So then it just becomes a fact of how you got to curate that and how you got to find people who's close enough to your style that it's going to be a good match, but it's not going to be like, oh, this is too much of the same shit.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally know what you mean. I like to ask, you know, like why an artist picks that specific medium. So for you, you're a rapper, you're an artist, like what about rap is so special to you? What about that medium is so special to you?
That's a good question. I mean, I've always been into music, and I've always just been good with words. So, you know, I feel like rap was the most accessible to me at the time, and it just made sense that I did that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like an athlete and stuff before, and I was like, I'm not going to the NFL, so I'ma just, you know, I might go to the professional rap league.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that that's a thing, but
yeah. No, I feel you. My next question is like, what's next for Lord Sko, man?
a lot. I don't want to show my cards too early. You know what I'm saying? And it's something I realize, and I hate to say it, but it's like this might be advice to a new artist. Is like, don't start yapping about some shit until it's like done and you have it.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, it's like a lot of people who's like, yo, like let's do some shit, and then you might be like, yo, this motherfucker want to work with me, and then you might be waiting on a pack from them like a year later, and then you might get hot, and then they might hit you up and be like, yo, let's work, and you're like, and then you're like, all right, yeah, like it feels good because you're like, all right, I earned that now, but it's also like, you know, you just got to be wary of like, you know, how much you actually have in the basket, like secured, you know, and like,
yeah, for sure.
You know, and obviously it depends on shit. Like, it's like, you know, I'm not saying you gotta like move like secretly and be like, oh, like nobody can know about when I'm shooting my next video. Like, you know, like it's not like that, but it's just like, you know, right. And it's also just, it's also a balance of energy. So, you know, I definitely some collaborations is gonna happen for sure, just to say it like that. But you know, I want to just keep evolving, keep, you know, doing shit as an artist. I want to I got a few projects that I'm working on. The next one I'm working on is called Piff. So I'll tease that right now. Teasing a project a little different, but you know, I got some joints already for it. So
awesome, man.
But Piff is gonna be like, it's like a weed themed project. So it's like, you know, I had this idea for a minute, so I just want to make sure that I do that the right way, and just, you know, just make sure that you keep your head on the right way.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I dig what you're saying.
That's my advice to myself.
For sure, no, for sure. We'll watch this back in the future and be like, yeah, I said that.
Yeah, word.
There's an interview with Baby Keem where he's talking about how, like, when he made his first songs, like, he was like, I want to drop this. And Kendrick, his cousin, obviously was like, No, you can't drop it right now. You gotta wait. You gotta wait.
No, there's a
You need to
time.
get it first, and it's like
there's a
now.
time for everything.
Yeah, of course. You gotta get it out when it's ready. I get that. I fuck with that. Now, my final question. I want to go all the way back, circle back to Headed Home. On that first song, he says,
So seek change, speaking my truth through the cheek pains. Cause truth first, but you see it through to achieve change.
what does that mean to
True.
you? What does that line mean to you?
Just means you gotta speak your truth, even if it's, even if it hurts, and even if, you know what I'm saying, you gotta speak your mind in the fullest, even if it's like, it's not gonna be comfortable at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm big on that. You know what I'm saying? I like. You know what I'm saying? If I sense something, I want to address it right away. Even if it's like on some weird shit. And even if they're like, yo, why you pressing me like that? I'm like, yo, I ain't pressing you. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Understanding is the highest form of love. So I'm always looking for the highest form of understanding.
That's a quote, man. That's a quote.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. You already know.
Thank you so much for being here,
My
Lord Sko.
man.
It has
My
been
pleasure, bro.
A pleasure to talk
My
to
man,
you.
you already know.
As you know, you can stream Lord Sko's music on Spotify.
You can
Apple
do that.
Music,
LORDSKO.
SoundCloud, anywhere. Follow him on Instagram.
Do that.
The Sko season is on right now.
It's always
and it's
going.
not stopping, all right?
It's an everlasting season.
And check out 4Train Films on Instagram and YouTube, wherever you watch your videos.
Do that.
Thank you so much for watching. You want to leave the people with a final message?
Man. Thanks for tapping in, man.